We're going to go ahead and get started with the service, so if you guys could grab a seat. Thank you guys for being here. It's amazing to see this many people. I'm glad we got this place versus the alternative, because definitely a lot more than 100 individuals here. So thank you for making it for this celebration of Lester Williams' life. So I'd ask you guys now to bow your heads so we can start in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this opportunity that you give us to come together. Not the greatest circumstances, however, pray for peace beyond understanding, Lord, during this time for the family and friends of a great man, a beautiful man, a man that had so much love for so many people, an accepting man. Lord, so what we ask now is that you come into our hearts. You comfort us during this time as only you can, and that you give us the exact words at the exact time when we're struggling, but also help us to remember the great times that we've had with Lester in this celebration of his life, as that's the way he would have wanted it. So I pray for all these things in your holy name. Amen. So my name's Al Herrera, Lester's cousin, and honored for the family to ask me to speak on the family's behalf. Very grateful for this opportunity, and I was trying to think of a few words to speak about Lester, and it's hard to put his life in words. A man full of life, first of all. Anybody that knew Lester loved him. And I see your head shaking and the smiles, because Lester was the party almost every time you walked around him. A great brother, a great son, cousin, friend. There wasn't a stranger that he didn't meet, that he didn't put a smile on their face the first time you met him. I think that Lester would say, if he was here, he would tell you that accept and love everyone. A great characteristic that I remember about my cousin. And secondly, he would say live life and dance. Those that knew him knew he loved to dance and celebrate. And music was a big part of his life and the life of everybody around him. And he influenced so many people to have a passion for what he had a passion for. So those two characteristics are what I want to speak about with Lester, which eerily, very similar to the characteristics that God has. So you see a mirror of Lester's characteristics and his love for people in the same way God loves us as well. So an accepting love. I remember consistently going over to the Williams house, an incredible family that always cherished and valued family. Had everybody over, and if you came over to their house, you were family. And there were many times when music would be playing and there would be dancing going on, and if Lester saw someone really not feeling it at the time or not comfortable with the situation because they weren't maybe they didn't have good moves, maybe they were just shy because this was their first time in such a boisterous family's house. But Lester would always accept everybody and he had this gift of making people feel comfortable, grabbing them, bringing them out on the dance floor, having someone sing into a microphone. That was him. Very accepting, very loving, not judgmental, did not see anybody as an outsider, wanted everybody to come into the fold consistently. And that was a gift of his, to love people. And similar to Christ, I mean, the same thing when we speak about Jesus Christ is he was the exact same way. If there was someone on the outside looking in that did not feel comfortable or welcomed, he would go to him. The woman at the well, Paul as a murderer, I mean, he embraced people that people looked at as outcasts. And reminded me so much when I was reflecting on Lester's life of how he just grabbed people that did not feel comfortable and brought them in. Lester wanted a relationship with everybody. He wanted people to feel comfortable, and he wanted a relationship, and a deep relationship. He wasn't a superficial guy. He was very deep, and he would get into your feelings a little bit on occasion with his questions. Man, a few words, but when he asked questions, he was looking for some insight to dig into you a little bit. The same type of relationship he was after is the same type of relationship that Christ is after with us. Christ takes all comers. It doesn't matter. He doesn't want you to clean up. He doesn't want you to think that you have these anything to fulfill any need to be around him. He wants a relationship with you regardless, just the way you are. In Romans it says, "For there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all, richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved." So he just asks that you call on him and you invite him into your heart. And that was Lester, just an inviter. Very embracing of everyone. Second characteristic, obviously, was dance and live life. I mean, this man could put a smile on anybody's face at any time. And he had a way, like I said, of bringing people into the fold. And the characteristics of Lester go beyond dancing and music, but it was about making people feel comfortable and loved. That's the same thing that God wants for us. He wants us to live life and live it to its full. In Romans it talks about, "I have come so that you may live life and live it abundantly." Exact same thing. Similar characteristic to Lester. Amazing. And I know that God created all of us. And so I know God created Lester for that specific purpose, to fulfill his promises to us. So this is a celebration of life. We've all gone through our emotions and we'll continue to process differently. But I wanted to, we're going to have some stories as people come up to discuss about Lester. But I wanted to lead off with a story from his brother, Wayne. I asked Wayne about a few characteristics and what he loved most about Lester. And Wayne said, "I love that Lester was always his own man, doing his own thing, marching to the beat of a way different and loud drummer." So those that knew Lester knew that he was not a conformist. He was going to live his life. And you were going to smile when you saw him based on the beat of his drum. And he would have you singing and dancing to the beat of his drum as well. Very incredible, magnetic personality. I loved his creativity, his dress, and his original dance routines. Interesting story that Wayne told me about the dress was he knew that when he would get ready for whatever he was going to do on the town, whether it was at a friend's house, at a party, when he came out and he saw that his dad would go, "Ah, mijo," that he had achieved his goal. And that was what he was going to wear, for sure. Because he said, "I've done it. I've arrived." Wayne also said, "I loved his humor. He was quick-witted and funnier than hell." So everybody that knew Lester knew how quick he was. I mean, he was so sharp, you could not get anything past him without him saying a brief comment just to make you feel special. Let's just put it that way. I appreciated that he was a way better athlete than me, which is very humbling for Wayne to say, because if you've been around Wayne at all, he'll talk a little bit about his ventures in football and baseball. But for Wayne to admit that he was a way better athlete than me, doing gymnastics that I could never do. So I remember these as well. Like, he would do some amazing things that I thought weren't humanly possible. Lester was a strong man to the end. When he got the news that he was terminally ill and had 5 days to live, he looked at everyone and asked everybody not to cry. He knew his fate, and there was a peace within Lester that the family got to see, experience, and he wanted them to be peaceful and happy, which is interesting and rare. I mean, you're in a situation where you're told that, And I gotta believe that God put this peace in his heart, that peace that goes beyond understanding, that you've been told that you have 5 days to live. And he wanted that for his family. He wanted happiness and joy. And he said, don't cry. And of course we had one that cried, Angie. And she said, I can't help it. I'm sorry. You're going to have to deal with it. And it was to be happy, to be at peace with this situation, because he was. And also his last request was to have a kiki. That was it. That was it, always being funny. So now, I'm going to turn it over to a few other individuals that have some great things to say about him, just to reflect on his life, as this is a celebration of life. And so the first person I want to turn it over to is Vicky, his best friend of 36 years. So, Vicky.
Thanks. I don't even know where to begin. Somebody's probably got to run up here with some tissues in a minute, because that's one thing that Lester laughed about. He always said, "Thanks, sweetie." He always said that I didn't have any tear ducts because I never cried. If they ever came to life, it would be sand blasting out of my eyes. And that wasn't just him. There was a few people that worked with us at Delta. But anyway, Lester was an amazing man. One of the best friends. I had to correct you, but it was 33 years. But it's fine. But who knew? Who knew when I started in 1984 at Delta Airlines over a silly little Looney Tunes cartoon that a 33-year friendship would bloom? We were sitting there having our lunch, different tables. Everybody's in there having their lunch, and we're the only two laughing. And right with that laughter, that brought us together. And we've been inseparable ever since. He brought me into a beautiful family. Beautiful. I don't know what I'd do without them. And I'll explain that in a minute. We were like brothers and sisters. We fought like cats and dogs, and to the end, he was just such a brave guy. I don't know where he got his strength the last few days. I really don't. I don't know that I could have done what he did. Everybody keeps saying how I'm holding up. I don't know how anybody like him, knowing what he had facing him, could handle that. And he did with the grace that he always had. Lester had. He was happy. He had everybody at home partying. He wanted a party. He wanted a kiki, and he got it. He got it. Anyway, I got a few tidbits about us. And you probably have seen me blasting Facebook with music because he was a dancer, gymnast, but dancer was his number one thing. And all the music that I've been blasting on there is all stuff that we used to dance to or we listened to at home. But mainly our deal was that at Delta, that was our thing. That we pretty much kept each other together. And he hated when I would run up behind him, because he'd be sitting at the break room table, and I'd sneak in behind him and either grab him around the neck and give him a big smooch, or I'd just grab his head and just give him a big kiss. And he hated that. Whenever we'd sit down and eat, and I'm going to share this because he always shared this story, and I don't know if y'all heard it or not, but we'd sit down and eat. And one time we were running, I don't know if we were fixing to run a flight or bad weather or whatever, and I told Lester, I said, I've got broccoli and rice. I said, sit there and have you some broccoli and rice. Okay. And I said, just eat what you want. I'll eat in a minute. He left me a little grain of rice, and he ate the rest of it. And I said, Lester, I just laughed. I couldn't even get mad at him. I just laughed about it. And but I repaid him later on. I repaid him later on and did the exact same thing, and I left him with like a French fry. So we got even. Any of the people that knew us, we hung out together, knew that we kind of classified ourselves as the original Will and Grace. But actually, we turned out to be Jack and Karen. And it was a mess. Whenever we got together, there was chaos. And it just seemed to fall, wherever we went, it was just like, something's going to happen with those two. And yeah, it was pretty much, you could count on it. But he always had my back. He always had my back. And when one time there's another story he would tell, is that he, whenever he got hurt one time at Delta, they had just gotten him to the nurse's office. I had already gotten word that he had gotten hurt. I dropped everything and I went over there to the nurse's office and blasted through there. He's like, I just got hurt. And I'm like, well, yeah, no, I'm afraid everybody already told me. I said, that's why I'm over here. But then when I ended up getting hurt, he did the same thing. So he came, like I said, he always had my back. Always. Like I said, we partied together, our rituals. Him and his cousin Lee and I were watching Designing Women or In Living Color. We'd watch Greed sometimes. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But this is another story that we used to tell, how we met his brother-in-law, Chuck. Poor Chuck. He had just come in, him and Lisa had just gotten engaged, and he came over to meet the family. And we had gotten champagne because it was the Queen Mother's birthday. We always celebrated the Queen Mother's birthday. And we come out of the house, and we're on the porch, popping to the Queen Mother, and poor Chuck gets out of the car, and he had this look on his face. I'm like, do I really want to be here? I was like, what is going on? But Lester was full of life. And anybody that has a friend like that, please embrace and hold on to that. That very rarely comes along. Very rarely. I could, like Seinfeld said and stuff, whenever they tell each other secrets, I could count on Lester to put it in the vault because it wasn't going anywhere. He could tell me anything, I could tell him anything, and I knew it wasn't going anywhere. And I always told people that we were twins because we were 6 days apart. His birthday was the 6th and mine was the 12th. And whenever I was introduced to Mama Karina and Buddy Williams, when you heard Mijo and Mija out of their mouths, you were family. You were family. And like I said at the beginning, I could not have asked for a better family, and especially after last year. My daughter passed away in a motorcycle accident last July. And Lester always knew exactly when to call. And everybody knew in my Williams family, besides me, because I had just gotten the news when he called me. And but it blew up on Facebook, so that's why everybody knew but me. But true Lester, it's like he read my mind. As soon as I got the news, he's on the phone. Everybody in the Williams also on the phone. I could not have asked for any better support at that time. And like I said, I handled it because I had my grandsons. I had this beautiful family that had my back. But, with Lester, it's like, He fought the good fight to the end and partied and enjoyed everybody. Everybody coming to visit. He had a big smile on his face. No worries. I don't know how he did that. He's my hero. And now I have to go without him. We all have to go on without him. I know he's here because he told me, he said, I'll always be with you. It's just not the same. So, there's too many stories, and I know the kids want to get up here and speak. And I love you guys. You guys have been awesome. Y'all took such good care of your dad. But I want to share something. I think, like I was telling my sisters the other day, I think the reason, I cry, I still cry for my daughter, but I think I'm a little bit more at peace now, knowing that her Uncle Lester is there with her. She's taking care of him, and he's taking care of her. These kids grew up together. These kids didn't, some of them didn't even know that I had been around that long. And, but like I said, that's what eases my mind, is I know both of them are watching over us. And I could not ask for better guardian angels. So I'm going to end with this little poem or whatever that was, some friends of my daughter's made a video of her, and I wanted to share this little part that was at the end of the video. Don't cry for me today. I wouldn't want it this way. Be strong and smile, for you will see me in a while. I know you miss me, but know in heaven I will be. Do not keep your sad face. I'm in a much better place. Do not let your tears fall, for I cannot wipe them all. Yes, my life wasn't long, but I'm begging you to be strong. Live every moment as if it were your last. I won't forget any of the memories that have passed. Cherish life and love as I watch from up above. I remember all the good times we had. I have gotten my wings. It is time to fly. As your guardian angel, don't cry for me. I'm on my way, soaring through the sky as I watch all of you telling me goodbye. Thank you.
So as you can see, true to form, great friend, family, dependable, loving, would do anything for people. So we're going to have now the best parts of Lester, which are his children, amazing, gifted individuals that are very smart. They're going to come up and say a few words, so I want to invite Maddie up first.
Well, hello, in the words of my father. How's everybody doing tonight? I want to thank you all for being here, and I'm sorry if I cry, because I know. Okay. Oh, perfect. Well, as many of you know, my father was such a fabulous soul. And like my cousin Albie and Vicky said, he always knew how to make everyone feel welcomed. And he always knew how to lift everyone's spirits. No matter what he was going through, he loved genuinely to make other people have a good time. So my dad taught me multiple things throughout the years. Multiple things. He taught me how to dress. He would look at me and be like, no, go change. And then give me a better outfit. He would do my hair. I was very sensitive with my head and my tangles as a child, so he'd hit my head with the brush just to make sure that the tangles wouldn't hurt anymore. And he was right. I mean, it worked. The tangles did not, my head was throbbing, but the tangles did not hurt anymore. So he was smart. He was very good at that. He taught me beauty is pain, which also piggybacked on that hairbrush incident. He would just repeat, beauty is pain. It's painful to be beautiful. I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to be beautiful that bad. I have multiple stories with that father, but there are two that I think really represent our relationship and kind of shows how amazing of a father he was too. I'm Madison, by the way, I'm sure you guys all know. I'm his daughter, his youngest child, his only daughter. But first I want to tell you about the time I won a homecoming queen, because my dad was all about that. He made me try out for cheerleading. I didn't really care to. I was like, but he was like, you're going to try out for cheerleading. And then I got sophomore class spirit. And he's like, wow, Maddie, you're going to get junior princess and homecoming queen. And I was like, I don't care about that. He was like, I know you don't care about that, but I care about that. It's like, because it's like, I've always wanted to ride on the back of a float. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'll do it for you. So the night of, I get in the top 5, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. And so my aunt Carla helps me with some dresses for that homecoming week, and finally it's the time for the homecoming announcement, the homecoming game. And I'm on my way. My mom and my mom's mother, Gaggy, her name is Linda, but Austyn nicknamed her Gaggy as a child. They took me to homecoming, and I remember I was so nervous, because usually I would be cheering during that first half, but I just went straight to the halftime game. I was so nervous, and I was texting my dad. I was like, you better be there. You better not be late. You better be wearing something nice. Because he was nervous about it as well. He kept calling me that week and was like, what do I wear? And I was like, you know what to wear. He's like, you wear a nice suit. I was like, do I have to get into details with you? Tie, suit, jacket. It looked nice. He was like, okay. So I was texting him on the way there. And I get there, and, everyone's like, hey, what's going on? I'm looking around for him. And then I see him. And it turns out he's been there for like an hour. I was like, how long have you been there? He's like, I was here since the game started. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, okay, great. I was like, well, it's time to go. So we walk out on the field, and the whole time I'm just shaking because I'm so nervous. And I hated being put, like right now, be up on the spot in front of everybody. And I was holding on to him, and I was like, Dad, you're holding me up right now. I hope you know that. My legs are shaking so much. My hands are shaking. I was like, I'm so nervous. And he's like, don't be nervous, Maddie. Like, you're fine. You're okay. I was like, no, but I'm so nervous. I was like, I'm not nervous if they don't call me, but I'm nervous if they do call me, and like, what am I going to do? Or like, where do I walk? I don't know. I just forgot everything in that moment. And then they call my name, and I look at him, and he's got this look on his face of like, wow, wow, that's my beautiful daughter, my only daughter, my baby girl, and she just won homecoming queen. So now I get to ride on the back of a float. So he's so excited. He was so excited for that. But the worst part about this whole story is after they called my name, I look at him and I'm like, I'm about to start crying because, I don't know. And he gives me a hug and was like, congratulations, Lulu. And I turn and I walk off. And I leave him there in the middle of the field. I wasn't thinking in that moment. I was like, okay. And I walked off, and there was the cheerleaders come and surround me, and I get the cape put on and everything. And I just left my dad, which I'm pretty sure this moment meant more to him than it ever will to me. But I left him. And so I get to where they put the crown on, and I'm walking down the aisle with the flowers through the ROTC. And I get over there, and we meet up again. And I'm like, oh my gosh, Dad, wow. And then he was like, you left me. So I was like, what? He goes, you left me out there. I was like, oh man. I was like, Dad, I wasn't thinking. I just was go. I was like, you know how nervous I was? And I was like, I know. And I held you the whole time. And then you just left me out there. So I had to walk by myself. And that man never let me live that down. Like, always brought that up. He was like, yeah, well, she left me. She left me out there. I was like, no, I didn't, but I kind of did. But he was still so proud of me and just was like, wow, you know. So that was more of a funny one. This one is a little more recent. So before I get into that, I'm sure a lot of you know that movie Beaches, or if you don't, it's a really sad movie. It's about these two best friends, and one of them gets cancer and dies. So me and my best friend, Megan, that was our movie, you know, because we're best friends. And I was sitting in the hospital with my dad, and it was Friday. And it was a day that team after team after team came in and gave us the bad news. And he took it like a champ. I was like just staring at him. Like, how can someone in the face of meeting their own death, like, can stay so strong and keep it together and cool and composure? It was fascinating. So it came down to where it was just me and my brothers in the room. And then my brothers go to get some lunch, step out for a second, and it was just me and him. And I just kept staring at him. And he caught me staring at him and was like, hey, do you want to have a Beaches moment? I was like, oh my God. I was like, Dad, that's so sad. I was like, yes. So I crawled into bed with him, and he said, come here, Lulu. And he held me in his arms, and he squeezed me so tight over and over again. Just tight. I haven't felt a hug from him in over 6 months since he got sick. And he just held me, and I lost it, and I started crying because I was trying to be strong for him because he was so strong for us. I started crying, and I said, I don't know what I'm going to do without you. I don't want to live without you. You know, you're my protector. You're the man who listens to me, who gives me advice, who has my back no matter what little prissy fight we're in, or, you know, we have our tiffs, but he always had my back. And he hugged me and he said, I love you, Lulu. And he said, you know, with the boys, I never had to worry about them. He's like, they're strong. They'll always be strong. But he's like, but you, when you were younger, I was really worried. I was really worried how you would become, how you would take care of yourself, if you would turn into an independent woman. And then he looked at me and he said, but I'm not worried anymore. He's like, you're the strongest one out of all of them. I was like, I know, and the most stubborn. And I gave him a big kiss, and he said, it's okay, Lulu. It's okay. And if that man who was currently dying can tell me it's okay, the least I could do was put on my robot face and be happy and tell jokes, just constantly come into that hospital room with joke after joke after joke, because that's all he wanted. He knew what was going to happen, and he accepted it, and he stayed strong for his kids, for his sisters, for his brothers, for his nieces and nephews, for his aunts and uncles. We got a huge family. For everyone. And it just made me think, like, wow, I had the chance to be raised by one of the strongest and also most fabulous men that has ever walked this planet. So I am grateful to be Lester Lee Williams III, only most fabulous daughter. Thank you.
Thanks, Maddie. So now we'll invite Austyn up to give a few stories about his dad. So.
Well, forgive me, guys. I'm not good at public speaking or anything like this, but I don't know. I just wanted to say a few things about my dad. Growing up, like Maddie said, the things I learned from him were how to dress, manners, and respect. And so when we go out to eat, it was like a treat, and nobody would act up. Like, we got the Herrera pinch from Grandma at churches, but with Dad, we didn't get that. He always told us, just, you have to act right. And growing up, it was the music. I would sneak into their room, watch Saturday Night Live, watch Michael Jackson, Thriller, which Grandma hated because I'd always get scared. But I always had culture around me from him, and that's something I'm so thankful for. That's the reason why I want to do art. That's the reason why I did music in the first place, is because of my dad. And I remember in college, when I left college to be in a band, and I asked Dad, and he said, yeah, do what you need to do, because you don't get this chance often. And he told me, yeah, do it. He's like, you just have to tell Grandma. And that's when I got really scared, but it worked out, and I went back to school, and I took that chance. But I wouldn't have done it without my dad. And yeah, kind of like Maddie was saying, he was so strong throughout this whole process, and seeing all these people here, all the lives he touched, and it makes me feel really good, because that's the best father anyone could ask for. And he's taught me so much, and he'll continue to teach me things. I'll continue to think about him, and I just want to make him proud, and I feel like I did while he was alive, and I got to talk to him, and we had a great picnic Sunday for the last good day. Wind, breeze in his hair. He was loving life, And so that's what he would want us to do too, is going forward, love life, cherish everybody, family, and just have a good time. But that's really all I have. Thank you, guys.
So definitely similarities to his father. Man of few words, but powerful words that describe Lester very well. And now I'll invite Taylor up. Taylor wants some applause.
So I had a few ideas of what I would say, and then in true Maddie form, she stole half of it. So now I feel awkward. And I'm not really well with words. I'm great with lines, but I'm going to do it for Dad, I guess. But he's probably just going to be like. So, and excuse the sunglasses, but my Aunt Cisa said it looked like George Michael, so I was like, yes, a moment. So, a lot of you probably do know. I know my friends definitely know. My dad loved me, but I was not my dad's cup of tea. He loved me, but he didn't like me. And I think it's because I'm just like my dad. By the way, I am Taylor. I'm not Lester. I'll take this off. But my dad was my biggest critic. I think every time I did anything or said anything, he was just like, but because he saw himself, and he was probably like, oh man, I did that. But my friends would all come over, he'd be like, hey, why do you hang out with her? We don't like her. And they'd be like, oh, you're so funny. And I'm like, he's serious. But I am nervous, so I'm going to make this really short. A lot of you know how Lester was as a friend, as a son, as a brother, and you saw kind of how he was as a dad. But let me tell you exactly how he was as our father. Lester Williams, the father. He never took me aside and said, "Hey, son, come here. Let me show you how to change the oil in this car." Or go throw a football with me. But he did have very, 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 very important rules that he would tell us when we were so young. I didn't even know what half the rules meant. And then later in life, I'm like, oh. Because I would break them. And I was like, that's what the rule was. Number one, beauty's pain. Which, we were in New Orleans, me and my sister, and we were like, we should get a tattoo. Knowing that our parents would kill us. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't get a tattoo because I don't want to ruin myself. Just kidding. So we were like, okay, well, the only thing we could maybe get and feel okay about is beauty is pain. And I told Madison, because I think we even said, like, maybe we wouldn't get a tattoo. The only time we'd get a tattoo is if we ever lost our father. And it would be beauty is pain. Well, Dad, I don't know, maybe he heard us talking. He got wind of that idea, and he was like, no, I will kill y'all. And then he said, and if I'm already dead, then I would haunt y'all. And I'm like, So I told Maddie, I'm like, oh, let's get the tattoo. And she was like, And I was like, oh, yeah, no. Because my dad's biggest thing he would tell us was, what's the joy of having kids if you can't spend your whole life embarrassing them? So I know he would take that a step further if I got that tattoo. And I'm like, but I haven't been performing in a while, but that was my first love because of my daddy. I always saw him dancing or being in dance classes. I remember I would beg him to go or to learn any of them. And then when I was learning Janet Jackson's If, I remember regretting it, and he did not let me leave until I learned the whole dance. But I'm thankful. I'm thankful that every time I had to practice a song in front of him, he'd be like, again, stop, again. I'd be like, well, what's wrong with it? Everything. But I knew he wouldn't sit there and listen if he didn't think I had something, or if he didn't care. But the first one was beauty is pain. Second one, I really didn't understand because I'm like, what? But 2, you never show up to a party on time. And I'd be like, what does that mean? Because I'm like 5. I don't really, what? And then I was maybe in high school, went to a party, and I'm like, what is this? I went on time, which meant I went way too early. But I got what it meant. Number 3 was your exit is just as important as your entrance. And I broke that rule way too many times. They know. And I was like, oh, that's what it meant. He told my friend, I got to tell actually stories about my friends, because those are my favorite stories of my dad, because my dad, I don't know if you knew, but my dad tested people a lot. And if he didn't test people, I guess he was just testing my friends to see if they were strong enough, A, to be around him, and strong enough, B, to be a friend in my life. He's even made, like, some of my friends leave the room crying. You know, not to call them out, Jesse, you, like, remember that? But a fun story that I know is that my friend Kim was getting her extensions taken out, but it took so long that we needed to go to the state fair that they ended up just cutting them. And they're like, we'll take out the pieces tomorrow. And Kim was like, okay, yeah. Well, we went home before we left, and my dad was like, And she's like, it looks fine, right? And he's like, let me see, turn around. And he's like, yeah, it looks fine. Just never back out of, or always back out of a room. And what a lot of my friends probably thought my dad was me, but my dad was just very witty, and he wanted to see if you can keep up with him. And that's it, because if he didn't care about you at all, he wasn't caring about making fun of you or picking on you or doing those little things, because those are, to my friends or former friends, those are conversation starters that he was doing. But he said also that he would always be with me, And I was like, Dad, no, stop. I don't want you to see everything. I'm like, please. But I'm glad everybody's having fun, because that was my dad's number one thing he requested, is that nothing felt like a funeral, and that people were having fun. So I came in here today, and since my dad has passed, I've been almost, since he said he's always going to be with me, I've been kind of scared to cry. So it's been easy, because I'm like, well, but when I see Maddie cry, I can be fighting with Maddie, and she starts crying, I start crying. I'm like, ugh. So she broke me, but I want us to remember why we're here, and it was because of Lester, the party. And he wanted everyone to have fun, and I know definitely in his death he is not going to have anything less than fun. So I want to thank everybody for coming and remembering my dad and being here to share this with us. And I just remember that I will kick y'all out if y'all get too sad. This party will be over in a second. So let's have fun.
Definitely see the comical side of Lester coming out in his kids. So next, speaking on behalf of the family will be his sister Lisa. So come on up, Lisa.
Guys, your dad would be so proud of you. Y'all are a real hard act to follow. Can I go at the beginning next time? I'm so very proud of you, Vicky. I love you. Just to end on what Taylor said, thanks for being here. And it is time to get happy. Lester would have been really mad at Vicky, because it was getting. Then his daughter brought it back up, Austyn, and then Taylor. That was great. So I'm here to tell you about how he was to our family and what he meant to our family and where he fit in. Because we could go on and on with stories, and in fact, that's what we're going to do later on. I actually brought this book. Tina, remember when he turned 40? And we did 40 stories of Lester and filled it in a book like this. So again, everyone, I would love for y'all to put your stories in here. But Tina, one of my dear friends, and just like we've been saying, our friends were Lester's friends, and it's evident here. My very different groups of friends that I have, and then the high school, Irving High, is represented. He would be so proud to know that. Tammy Edwards is here? Wow, he's like, I'm popular. That's all he ever wanted. But Tina, going back to the story, Tina made up some like 3-page story that never happened. God can't even find the book. But Lester got the biggest kick out of that because he thought, I mean, who took that much time anyway? And as you're reading it, it's 3 pages, and she went on and on about him having poopy diapers back in kindergarten or something like that, and it was like never even happened. I would like true stories tonight, though, if you don't mind. Tina, you feel free to make up your own, because that's what he would want from you. So, again, speaking on behalf of the family, we know that well, there's 6 children in our family, and anyone that knows our family knows how we are, okay? We're very, very close. We're pretty tight. We had to be. We all lived in a fairly small house for 6 kids. I've scarred Angela because she had to sleep on the floor. So I had my own room. Lester and Wayne, shared a room. And I remember having to get up in the morning to take a shower. My daughter asked me that, how'd y'all do it? I said, first one, first come, first serve. You had to line up outside the door with your blanket if you wanted to go in, especially if Lester got in there. So you wanted to beat Lester, number 1. But number 2, you got to go ahead and line up. So that brought us really close together. And it's also a tribute to my parents, because that's what my dad always wanted, and my mother, for us to be together. So Lester being the leader of our family, was firstborn, and his relationship with my mother was beautiful. They were like brother and sister. So they were really only 21 years apart, right, Mother? And at high school, Irving High, when he would be picked up by her, everyone thought that was his sister because she was always young and, they had a special relationship unlike any other. And I'll go into that in a little bit. But I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on, again, who he meant to us as brothers and sisters. So we heard from my cousin, Little Alvy. I'm still going to call him Little Alvy. Little Alvy, about Wayne's history and his stories with my brother. Two brothers couldn't be more different, but the respect that they had for each other was something to see. That's what I always was so proud of. They, again, Lester would never go throw a football with you. You just knew that, okay? Wayne did. Lester's going to tell you when you look good and when you don't. Wayne's just going to tell you look good. Yeah, you look good. Lester would tell you the truth. Wayne would never go see Grease 10 times with me. Lester did. And we sang every song. Saturday Night Fever, I knew the movies Wayne and I could watch, but also knew very different movies that Lester and I watched. So Wayne, again, had that special relationship with Lester and the family. And Carla, his sister, where's Carla at? Carla asked her for a little story on what she remembered of Lester, and what she said, listen to this, sisters. I was his favorite. Really? But and I said, why do you think that? I'm writing my notes. I had it right here. Okay, tell me a little. I felt, Lester said I was the best. That's because I never fought with him. Ever. She was always very pleasing to him. So he never had a quarrel with her. I don't think ever. And so she goes, I'd like to think that's why. And he would tell me that. I can't believe it, but I'm going to let her go with it. But she said one of the key moments of her life is she was always thankful that he was a caring big brother. You remember that, Mother? He took care of all of us, and we'll go in that relationship with Angie. That was his baby girl. But he was very, very nurturing. So Carla remembered, and my husband loves the story. I don't know why, but I was making a tortilla when I was younger and started burning it and threw it into a styrofoam, very combustible item, and just went up in flames. And I said, my husband just thinks it's hilarious that I'm making a tortilla. It goes. But Lester's instinct, Carla said, was to get her out of the house. Okay? Right? And so, to know that he was only 5 years old and Mom trusted him, take your sisters out of the house. She'll never forget it. And she says that until the end, you can see Carla taking care of her brother. He told me to get out. Angie, get out. Key, leave me alone. So glad I don't have to eat the food you've been making me. But he didn't say anything to Carla. And Carla was there to the end by his side. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. So again, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you. You probably were his favorite sister because you didn't argue with him. And he proved it because he let you stay in there. So that's proof right there. Sorry, Key. Key's the one that has been a very, very close relationship of late. How many years have y'all been together living? A lot of 10 years. 10 years with his Key, with Karen. And they also had a very special relationship. Unlike Carla, Karen liked to argue. Why you want to argue with Lester, and especially on the English language, that we all know Karen butchers from time to time, makes up her own words, horrified Lester, especially just in a group of friends. Oh my God, my sister did not just say that. And but he loved you for it because he liked correcting you as well. He loved you too. Key took care of him till the end, was trying to help care for him and feed him, and that was a beautiful thing to see. And again, we could go on and on for stories for each one of them, but I want you to know that the relationship he had with each one of us. So again, who she thinks is his favorite is our baby sister Angie, because he raised her. And we just sat and watched several home videos that Mom had. And she didn't realize, because you're seeing as a baby, Lester's there. He's the caregiver. He's the one that was carrying her around. He's the one. Mom's helper. We had 6 kids. So he helped you raise Angela. And look at what he produced. She had her own credit card, dressing her like a doll, spoiled her rotten. She's a beautiful lady, but she knows what she wants and she gets what she wants. And he was very proud of that. And he taught you that, and he's the one who made you. We always blamed him. But he loved you the most. Not really. I was his favorite. Vicky, you said you were twins. I was his twin. I'm sorry. You're saying a couple things. I think you got him confused. He called me his twin because we both loved the party. We loved the dance. And I was his guinea pig with that. You know how he was very critical of y'all forget about trying to learn to try out for cheerleader at Irving High. I had to be the partner that he had, and if I couldn't do it right, he would throw me. You're not doing it right. That was a dangerous position. I don't know if y'all ever remember some cheerleaders here. Suzanne Price, where you at? Y'all had that wraparound thing that you did. It's totally illegal now because you probably cracked some heads, okay? They would never be allowed to do that. In fact, it's a very illegal move. But Lester practiced it with me, okay? Every time my head hit, it was my fault, okay? And I would be like, Lester, this hurts. When are you going to do it? And he would get me up again and try to make me, do this thing. And we were pretty inseparable for quite a long time. And our goal was to go, we're going to go to New York City. We're going to go be dancers. We're going to go be on Broadway. Lester loved Broadway. But he had other plans, something even better than we could ever imagine. And that was his beautiful kids. And he was so proud of, look how fabulous they are. He was give him a round of applause. That was his greatest achievement. So even though y'all took him away from me, he was so proud in the final days. I just saw him gaze at his children. It was amazing just to see the love he had and how proud he was. So again, I could say I'm the favorite, but no, he would get mad at me too and tell me I wasn't. Like you said, get out, Lisa. So we all just shared a very, very special bond with him. And going back to my mother, the bond he had with her, again, they were more like brothers and sisters and hung out a lot. And a tribute to him is in his final days, final years, he helped care for my mother. And that's what he said. That's my job. This is my job, to take care of my mother. She always took care of us, and this is what I'm supposed to do. So he loved his mother so much. Words can't express. You know how awesome my mother is, okay? So their relationship was something that I was very, very proud of, very proud of. So you see a little insight of how he was. Excuse me. This thing's hanging? What is this? Did you do that? Hello? I'm not going to rip it off or pay for it. That's okay. Maddie, I think you blew it off or something. It stays there. Anyway, get going, a little to touch base on the friends that we had also. And like I said, you can see them. All my group of friends, Sue Bevins, I'm saying all their old school names. Again, Tammy Edwards, Randy Perkins. I mean, Jesse Delagar. I don't want to forget anyone, and then of course Monica, my dear friend, who every time I can count on her, she was there. And when Lester asked for his final party, his Kiki, Monica came running, and Cortezes came running. One funny story: Cortez girls are just sitting there looking at him. Their eyes are welling up. They knew they didn't want to cry. And Lester goes, "What are you looking at? Just talk to me." So they had to laugh through their tears, okay? But Monica knew what he wanted, and Monica just went and sat by his side, and he wanted to be happy and thank you for being there for him. And just like Wayne's friends are here, all of Wayne's friends that loved my brother, it's a tribute to him that they're all here, and we're just as devastated to receive the news. Karen has her posse back there. Okay, they're all in the house. They all love my brother very much. My in-laws as well. Lester meant something to everybody. And it was usually dance. They all danced with him, okay? Tammy Edwards said, "He taught me how to dance." Melinda, crooked leg, dancing. Okay? Lovingly, that's my sister-in-law. So I'll get to tell you that story later. Crooked leg standing up. She can't bend her leg. No. I love you, baby girl. But I thought you were right there. Lester still had her dancing. Okay? He danced with everyone. And that's all the comments I've kept giving. I have a whole group of school teachers that I've been teaching with for years. Lester would go to the parties. Everyone said, "Who am I going to dance with?" Tina came on one of his nights. He asked for her because he knew we were, my homies that needed to be there. And Tina came, danced this mess around, B-52s. That was such a beautiful moment, and he loved every minute of it. So she came to represent that group of friends. And again, the dance just touched everybody. That was his life. He loved to dance. But as I was going through these memories, this is for my family. And this is for my mother. Again, I could go on and on with stories. But I think Lester did this on purpose. I was furiously going through my pictures to try to find a very special picture I have of my husband and my brother, which again is another special relationship. Alfonso can tell you all the in-laws that we have their special stories with my brother. But I was frantically looking for that picture. It was just the best picture of Lester and the best, most handsome picture of my husband. Right. I said that? No. I'm joking. I love you. But while I am searching through this, and Wayne and I were laughing, we were crying laughing last night, I found something, and I think Lester wanted me to find it. So it's a card. And if anyone knows, we spent many a nights. Lester should have been a playwright, because not only did he dance, his wit was there, and he wrote many scripts for some of our best videos, family videos we have. Miss Latina Bonita contest, who won? Carla won, Julianne won. We had the Academy Award parties that we had to dance in between the commercials, but we had to be dressed up in our Academy Award gowns, which were really bad formals that we had. And we have all this documented, by the way, by my brother-in-law, William. But he loved to write scripts, and he loved to write little things and little notes. So, you're going to die. I found this card he made. This I guess, one of the first cards that you could go make yourself. And I just thought, this kind of sums up Lester's wit and goes over all our many, many family stories that I know my kids have heard, and I'm sure Lester's over and over. But he wrote this card to my mother. Happy Mother's Day. A mother's love is, and again, I have to cut some words, but I can't cut everything, so I hope I don't offend anybody. Wayne and I were talking about it. There's one or two words I can switch. But I also have to read it kind of the way he wrote it, too. It won't mean the same. Number one, a mother's love is having the brush the Queen of Sheba's hair every day. I was Queen of Sheba. I had the hair, like you said, many a brush is broken on my hair, my head. I couldn't feel my scalp many days. Number 2, taking on the big, cheap lady at Kmart. Why am I not using my glasses? Oh, at Kmart, in order to find that $1 shirt so then I can go look special at the TOP dance. Irving High knows TOP. Allowing your son to wear an afro, even though he looked like he belonged to the group Parliament. Funkadelic, Lester. Going from store to store and searching high and low to find the perfect platform shoes to go with the avocado suits. Mom did. Mom always made sure he was sharp. Telling your children that pretzel ran away, even though you knew she choked herself to death in our backyard. She did. She told me 20 years later. I cried. You did what? Pretzel died. Wait, there's more. Okay, this is for my brothers and sisters. Okay, driving the Williams Independent School District bus around. Everyone knew what that one looked like, that green and white one. Okay, had us all in there. Staying up all night. Oh no, I don't want this one. Do I have to read it, Wayne? Okay. Sorry, kids. Staying up all night and waiting by the window to make sure your daughter gets home safely. And then not even eating the donuts her friend brings to you to bribe you with. Because obviously I snuck out. So I didn't like that one, but I guess it was our history. Giving you the Herrera pinch. Only in public. That was the pinch right here. All the Herreras know it. All the aunts do it. But it's a pinch here that'll bring you off of your toes, your heels. But you knew not to say anything. That means you're going to get it when you got home. Angela was the only one that would say, "You're pinching me." She didn't. She let it out. We knew to be quiet. Angela got away with it too. Okay, but she liked it. That was her pinch. Another one about me, buying a little girl a woman's baton and then telling her to practice. Mom, bought me a baton. It was only supposed to be like this length. That was the correct. Mom, bought that because it was on sale at Kmart. So I had like Bruce Pitts, but I was determining to use it. I was going to use it. Lester used to say, "Show me your routine." Okay. Go, what is that? And I don't have another baton. We couldn't afford anything else, but Mom made sure we were involved in activities, whether we had the proper equipment or not. Because, number 10, grounds you on Sunday and then buys you a new suit on Thursday for the formal dance on Saturday. Forever. I guess she had so many kids she forgot that she grounded you. So it was real easy. You thought, "You're grounded for 2 weeks." And then it'd be like, "Mom, can I go?" And she would, "Yeah, you can go." She forgot. She never wrote that down. She didn't keep any notes on who she grounded. So she was always very, loving and would let us go to the formals. Here's another equipment problem. Buying your son a 3-string guitar and then asking him to play at parties. Without realizing that he walked around the park for an hour each week instead of going to the lesson. How dumb was that? Lester, he was too embarrassed to go. I went with the baton. I didn't care. Okay, I had no pride. Lester refused to go to lessons with a 3-string guitar. So instead of breaking her heart, he walked around the park for an hour. Well, I never learned the guitar. Hate to tell you that. But that was Lester. And Iron Mom always says this wasn't true. Making your husband a nice dinner and feeding your kids bologna soup. Mom goes, "I never make bologna soup." How do you even make that? But Lester always would tell her, "You made bologna soup." This is totally, the last one, and Wayne says we got to read it like that. I hope I don't offend. Telling your daughters, if you can't do the dishes in 5 minutes, you're slow and retarded. That is not what you should tell your daughter, but That was the story. So Lester, I think, wanted me to find this because I haven't seen it in years. In fact, Wayne and I don't know if y'all remember when this was. We had it for a birthday party for Mom, and we had to read our story. So I figured that was a perfect way to sum up what he meant to our family. So witty, had us cracking up, did things like that. He was shy. Wayne can tell you stories of Mom forgetting him at school. She had so many kids. But Lester's already in high school, really? You know, work it out. I used to hustle rides home. You know, hey, where you going? Jeff Barnett. He was so cute, right? Jeff Barnett, can I get a ride home? Can I go? Will, you know, I knew how to get Wayne. Lester is not going to ask anybody. And it was about 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock in the evening, Mom realizes, Lester! You'll have to see. Wayne will show you later when we get together on how we found Lester at 10 o'clock in the parking lot. Because he didn't call anybody. That's him. He was so shy. Then I took him to his first disco. Sorry, guys. I was one of the reasons why he became that dancing queen. Took him to his first disco, and the rest was history. So like we said earlier, that was his theme, is dance and be happy, and that's what we want to do tonight. Thanks again for being here, honoring my brother.
So we wanted to invite up Olivia to speak on how Lester was as an uncle.
Dang, no claps. They're mad because I'm Angela's daughter. But yes, my name is Olivia. I am Angela's daughter, and this is Ava. And this is Allie, and we are Angela's daughter, and we're Lester's baby sister. So my sisters want to just say a quick memory that they have of Uncle Lester first. So I'm going to go ahead and let them speak.
One thing that I'm going to remember about my uncle is whenever we went over, he would always say, "Oh no, the girls are here." And also we would go to the back room and watch replays of Lady Gaga and Pink and Madonna. He always used to be my dance partner.
Alright, I'll try and make this quick. Oh, somebody's phone. Okay. But yes, I am Angela's daughter. I'm Olivia, and I'm also Lester's goddaughter. And we do come, I'm here representing the Cousin Club. We come from a huge family. I mean, but Cisa said that, you know, she's one of 6. But cousins, we have a lot. Obviously, it starts off with Austyn. 34, he's the eldest. We go Cherie, Andy, Taylor, Maddie, Wilson, me, Sarah. We got Braxton, Alex, Sammy, Mia, Allie, Ava, and now we're even into the greats. Cherie has her babies, Charlie, Chelsea, and CJ to start up their cousin club too. But with that, we were always, as cousins, into the arts, whether it be dancing, singing, musical theater at MacArthur, painting, or now, you know, Andy doing her videography and stuff, all of that talent. Man, we were his stage puppets. He loved it growing up. I mean, he would say, you know, special occasion or a holiday, and he would say, you know, okay, we're going to do this dance, all right? I need you standing here and here and here, and we'd have to do a whole talent show. We weren't even ready, but he would make us do it, and he loved it, and he would tell us, too, not cute, start over. And he loved it. He loved that, you know, he obviously had his kids, and they're all talented, and you know, musical theater and painting and all of that. But I mean, he had an extra. I mean, I was his goddaughter. He had a bunch of nieces and nephews. He took advantage of that for sure. And with that too, yes, I am his goddaughter, and me and Maddie are about 2 years apart. So I was always on Maddie's hip, bugging her, like, "Can I hang out with you? Can I hang out with you?" And you know, I'd always be with my Aunt Lisa, my Uncle Lester, taking me around and kind of did the same thing. I was going to a high school. I didn't know anybody. And he was like, Maddie's cheerleading. Go try out. And I'm like, I don't know anybody. And what if I don't make it? And then I'm going to be a loser going to this new school. I don't even know what I'm going to do. But he did make me try out, and I tried out, made it. And man, was I in trouble after I made it, because he would make me and Maddie in the driveway rehearse and rehearse and rehearse. And he would say, over again, what are you doing? What is that herky? That's not high enough. He was our biggest critic, but I will always thank him for that now. He always had that funny, loving spirit. Like everybody has mentioned, we're all his dancing partners. We'd have family parties, Thanksgiving, everything like that. And he was the first one. He had his drink in hand, and he was out there, and he was dancing, and you had to follow him. He was so energetic, and he took that lead, and we all followed, and that's the one thing that we absolutely loved about him. One thing I do want to kind of close this out, I'm going to make it a little short, but he did have nicknames for all of us, and that's just kind of how you knew Uncle Lester was in the room and he was calling you. He had a nickname for you. Whether it be Wilson, he's like, Mush, come here, Mush. Or Moppy Lulu, or BB, or Pops, Andy Pandy. But mine was Olive Shaniqua Petrinda Jones. I don't know why. He was just like, that's what you look like to me. And so I'm going to call you that, but for short, Olive Jones. So I'm just going to end this. It's going to be kind of sad. Sorry, Uncle Lester. But getting all the news, it's being hard. I'm away for college, finishing up. And so it's really hard to be here with the family. And I just keep in touch with my mom. Mom, don't look at me. But I just remember my best friend just driving me back from San Marcos. I just got done with graduation pictures, and all I could think about is, oh my God, not only do I have to look A+ for my mom, because my mom's my biggest critic, but Uncle Lester, man, he has to see some of these before anything. But I was just so nervous. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what his state was going to be. I just was trying to rush to him. And I remember getting to Grandma's, and I was just walking back there. He was kind of taking a nap, so he said, just let him nap for a little bit. And Mom was like, it's okay to go. And so Mom, hey Lester, I have somebody here to see you. And I pop out from behind, Olive Jones! So he always kept that, and that really just made me feel good. Like, he could still scream at me and say, Olive Jones, come here! And so I just want to say, like, we all come into this world as mush. His mush is Moppy, Lulu, BB, and Pops, and I came in here being his Olive Jones, and I left being his Olive Jones, and I'll always love him. So.
So now the talent that you've seen displayed and all the discussion about how talented this family is, we have Cherie that's going to come up and sing a song to honor Lester.
First, I have to tell you a story about this song. So, as you know, Uncle Lester was very good at putting on a show and making sure that all of us, the cousin club, etc., were also good at putting on a show. And so, from what he has told me, I have been putting on a show ever since he can remember. And he'd always say, oh, here comes Cherie with her little box and her microphone and her karaoke tape. And sorry, it's Riri. And he said I'd come in and announce my name. Hello, I'm Cherie Rivero. And we put on a show. And we do have lots of footage of evidence of Austyn and I first, and then Andy putting on little shows. And then it just kept going and going and growing and growing. So we're carrying on the tradition of still continuing to put on that show. So one of my favorite memories of Uncle Lester. Well, when all of this happened, the first thing I thought is, what song are they going to make me sing? And what song am I going to sing? And so many songs came to me, and I even tried to ask Uncle Lester, but I just said, he was a little bit tired. And so I said, Uncle Lester, do you want me to sing a song for you? And he says, no. So I was like, okay. So the first song that came to mind was Because of a Memory of Mine. Chelsea, you want to come up? Okay, come on. Chelsea likes to put on a show too. She did last night, so we'll see what she does here. But the first song that came to mind was Home. And this is because when I was in high school, I was cast in the musicals, and then my senior year, I was cast as Dorothy in The Wiz. And these are my baby girls. Yay! Charlize and Chelsea. They love Uncle Lester. But when I was cast, I obviously had to go to my biggest critic / fan and ask Uncle Lester, like, advice. And the advice he had to give me, I can't say it with my kids next to me. No. But in other words, he said, don't F it up. And I was like, what? He said, don't F up home. And I was like, okay, I got it. And that was how I thrived under pressure to make sure that I did not F up home or anything in the whole show for Uncle Lester. So tonight I have to make sure that I don't F it up for you and for my Uncle Lester. For one last song for him. Well, there's more. But for you. When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall grass bend into leaning. Suddenly the raindrops that fall have a meaning. Sprinkling the scene makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It sure would be nice to be back home where there's love and affection. And just maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time being my friend. Let me start again. Suddenly my world's gone and changed its face, but I still know where I'm going. I have had my mind spun around in space, and yet I've watched it growing. And oh, if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we run away or should we try and stay? Or would it be better just to let things be? Living here in this brand new world might be a fantasy, but it's taught me to love. So it's real, real, real to me. And I've learned that we must look inside our hearts to find a world full of love, like yours, like mine, like home. like Maddie, I forgot to say the best thing about that is right after the song, he came and ran up to me and said, "You didn't F it up. You did it." And that was the best feeling ever. So thank you, Uncle Lester.
So y'all saw some ridiculous dance moves there. Unbelievable. So finish with this. Obviously you heard lots of stories from family, friends about Lester being so caring and thoughtful, focused on bringing the best out of everyone, whether it was dancing or cheering. But you did see Lester bring out the best in everyone. Very confident individual that brought out confidence in everybody else. So I'll finish with this. He led a life of accepting love, which I think he would want you guys to carry that on, that legacy. And that means everybody, regardless, and live life and dance. Enjoy life. So we'll continue this celebration at the Rivero's house tonight. So we'd like for you guys to participate. Come over. We'll have a live mic so you can sing, tell stories, write stories in a book. But no one will replace Lester. We know that. We've lost an incredible individual, an incredible human being, one that cared for so many people. But I know, knowing what he knows now, I know he would refer to a replacement during the times when family's not around, when you're by yourself, when you're in mourning, when you're possibly sad. And I know he wants us to rely on God and Jesus for our comfort. And so I'll finish with this scripture. Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me. For I am gentle, humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. I think there's wise words there to live by. And as a big personality, as Lester was, there's not many that can replace him, but I think Jesus does a pretty good job. So we'll leave with one more song from Cherie. We'll come up here and sing us out, and then as she finishes the song, then we can exit and say our goodbyes. So thank you.
Okay, so this one's supposed to be fun. We're going to be happy. Yeah? I want you to get up and dance. Last dance, last chance for love. Yes, it's my last chance for romance tonight. I need you by me, beside me, to guide me, to hold me, to scold me. 'Cause when I'm bad, I'm so bad. So let's dance, the last dance, let's dance, the last dance, let's dance, the last dance tonight. Let's dance for love, yeah. Yes, it's my last chance for romance tonight. Oh, I need you by me, beside me, to guide me, to hold me, to scold me. 'Cause when I'm bad, I'm so bad. So let's dance, the last dance, dance, let's dance, the last dance tonight. Beside me, to guide me, to hold me, just hold me, 'cause when I'm bad, I'm so bad.